going on, Jerome's? So, of course, we know that J.J. McCarthy is quarterback one of the Minnesota Vikings, but the only quarterback on the rooster right now is Brett Rippin' Ass, and all the talk about Voldemort, that's out the window. And the Vikings, they didn't sign Flacco. They didn't sign Jameis. They didn't sign Marcus Mariota. They didn't sign Jabroni Brisket. They didn't sign any veteran backup quarterback of note. Now, they could certainly sign one after the draft, Ryan Tannehill. They could trade for one in Aiden O'Connell of the Raiders or Sam Howell, Korea's quarterback of the Seahawks, or they could draft a quarterback. Will Howard, Kyle McCord would be some intriguing options in the mid-rounds. But I feel like I'm alone on this island, and this is the ultimate hear me out. So Kirk Cousins, back in the day, I feel like he's been sufficiently humbled because of his experience with the Falcons last year. Obviously knows the offense, obviously knows the weapons and Kevin O'Connell, and I do not think at all that there will be a power struggle if he were to come back as the backup quarterback. And there's a lot of hoops to jump through. And no, the Vikings aren't giving him significant trade capital to the Falcons. And no, the Vikings aren't paying the bulk of his contract. They ain't doing that. But as a backup to J.J. McCarthy, just to make sure poop doesn't hit the fan, and Kurt another year removed from that Achilles, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Right, and then you would have time. Say you draft a quarterback too. Say you draft Will Howard, give him time to develop into a competent backup, or do you really trust Brett Rippin' Ass? Don't really know. But of course, we know Kirk Cousins. 6 years of some good times, but mostly not so good times. And Steve Miller bandit, took the money and ran down to Hotlanta, where instead of the Tin Pot Pizza Ranch dictator, he became the Tin Pot Waffle House dictator. Y'all. Yeah, did you notice that he picked up a slight Southern accent? It wasn't as pronounced and quick as Brian Kelly's when he went from South Bend, Indiana, to Baton Rouge. Y'all, but did you know that Kurt's wife is from Georgia? Yeah, but quickly it became very clear that he was not worth the cash outside of that Thursday night game against the Buccaneers, where he was doing the swag surf. That was the peak. That was the peak. But basically, yeah, it's done. It's Michael Penix's team. And you may ask yourself, well, they already paid Kirk Cousins, so why not have him as a backup? Because every single game, he will be a reminder of this organization's failure, of potentially one of the worst contracts in recent NFL history, and that includes Deshaun Watson. This one was just bad, frankly, because Kirk Cousins' Achilles wasn't healthy, even though they tampered. We didn't get any compensation for that, of course, because Falcons GM Rich McKay, Falcons CEO Rich McKay is head of the competition committee. Shocker. And it's just bad, right? So just start over, get rid of him, get some cap savings if you can, and go from there, right? And of course, Kevin O'Connell and Kirk Cousins. Could this work? Where JJ is clearly quarterback one, and Kirk Cousins, who does have a wealth of knowledge. Actually, I think Kurt's going to be a good announcer after he hangs him up. Aw, shucks. Who knows? But Kurt understands he knows his role and shuts his mouth and only speaks when spoken to, except for on Tuesdays because he won't be in the building. Long story longer. First things first, Nick Wright, as well as Eric Mangini, here seeing mid-climax. Good times. They were discussing the Vikings backup quarterback situation, and they brought up Aaron Rodgers ad nauseum, which just okay. But then Mangini talked about a potential reunion with the Vikings and Cousins. This is what he said. Kirk Cousins is a little bit interesting because when he left because the money wasn't right. But everything that I've read is that the relationship with the organization was great. The relationship with the city was great. I don't know. I feel like Kirk Cousins is a lot like I-35 here in Minnesota. Lots of money every single year. All the promises, this is going to be the year, and it never gets better. And you're always disappointed. Also, I-35, only one playoff win. Same thing as Kurt. The relationship with the coach was great. He might be of the mindset that this gives me my best chance to be successful. And in fairness, that's probably true because it's not his job in Atlanta. As well as It's kind of a good thing he didn't go to the Browns because I think that's a disaster waiting to happen. And no other teams were necessarily interested in acquiring him for his services. And if the Falcons just want to punt, admit their mistake, fold their hand, don't have good money chasing after bad, I mean, the Vikings might be it because of his knowledge with the system and the weapons and all that stuff. And he might even be able to buy his house back. Who knows? At a 200% markup. And he may come in saying, quote, yeah, I don't want to start where, internally he feels like he can beat out JJ McCarthy if he goes back. And if he doesn't, he's in an environment that's great and his money is guaranteed anyway. So basically it goes in. If Kurt does come to Minnesota, he's got to know that he's not competing. He is clearly the quarterback too. He is on the same level as Ryan Tannehill and Jumpin' Joe Flacco. And also, the Vikings might be out too, because if this does happen, there has to be a full medical check on the Achilles, and this is not tampering. Well, I feel like if it is tampering, since he is still technically part of the Falcons, they just owe us one. Like, this is a makeup call. A full check on the Achilles, also full check on that shoulder, which did not look right either. So they got to check things out because, frankly, Kurt last year was ass. Thank you. But if he is fully healed and fully healthy, and I think that he could be a competent backup quarterback, and is exactly what you would want. Basically, he would be like Aaron Rodgers without all of the drama and the nonsense, right? And of course, Kevin O'Connell adores Kurt, and we said this a bunch. It's a good thing that Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell separation of church and state, because if it was up to Kevin O'Connell, like if he had full personnel control, I think that Kirk Cousins is still the quarterback of the Vikings. I think that he would have re-signed Kurt even after the Achilles at age 36 last year. Truly believe that. Also, in this deal, there will not be any significant trade capital. If anything, it will be a 6th-rounder swap for a 7th, and not even this year either. Like we're talking about next year. Also, Kurt does have a no-trade clause, and people always misunderstand this. Well, the no-trade clause means that he can't be traded. No, that means that he has the veto power. He has ability to say no. So he's going to have to waive the no-trade clause. Falcon, which I actually think that he would. Given his chance to get the hell out of Atlanta, even though did he know that his wife is from Georgia? So here's what we say. Falcons take on all of his $27.5 million guaranteed, except for the league minimum, which is like $1.1 million that the Vikings would have to have on their books. So basically, they're able to offset $1.1 million. But here's the rub. The Vikings will pay his $10 million rooster bonus in 2026, which is already fully guaranteed. So the Falcons essentially save $11 million. Vikings over 2 seasons can split things up, and basically you have a backup quarterback for about $5 million if you bring Kurt back in 2026. So that's roughly the going rate for a veteran backup. So it's no muss, no fuss there. And I know we were never paying Kirk Cousins another dime. Well, it's backup quarterback money. I think we're fine. Also, Kurt has to know that he's quarterback too. He can't be like, I'm back, baby. All the Coles cash, I'm back, baby. All the dad jokes, no, ain't going to be like that. You are clearly the backup quarterback to JJ McCarthy. You will help him in any way that you can and go from there. Also, with the locker room, even though there's a ton of veterans that were here during the Kirk Cousins years, JJ McCarthy, Justin Jefferson, the original JJ, Darisaw, O'Neal, Harrison Smith, like, it's not going back. We're not going back. We ain't going backwards, man. So there will not be a locker room schism. I truly believe that Kevin O'Connell has the leadership, and I think that there's enough character and veteran presence in this locker room where this would not become an issue. And I think that it would be a smart move, because if the poop does hit the fan, could Kirk Cousins move this offense another year removed from that Achilles if it checks out and it's good to go? Yes, because I think that Kurt came back too soon last year. Like, he wasn't ready to be a starter. He probably needed a full calendar year to recover from that Achilles. That there just wasn't the tangy zip miracle whip. He wasn't able to plant his feet. He wasn't. He operated in shotgun for most of it because he wasn't able to be under center and have the footwork. But I think another year removed, I think that could be good to go. There's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts. So first off, Kurt would have to be checked out medically and be good to go. And also the Falcons would basically just have to admit their defeat and surrender the contract, and we're not giving up any significant draft capital. The Falcons have to eat almost all of the money, and Kurt would have to know that he's quarterback too and waive his no trade clause. So there's a lot of moving parts, but this is our requirements, and they have to meet all of them. Otherwise, we're not interested. We're not going to trade a third-round pick for Kirk Cousins. We are not going to pay the bulk of his contract, and we're not going to have a quarterback competition. All of these things have to be correct, and then maybe we'll consider it. That's what it should be. All right. So overall, like, Mangini is right. I mean, I think if you're seeing it from Kirk Cousins' perspective, it makes sense to want to go to Minnesota. but he does have to know that he is quarterback too. But again, all of these things have to happen, but we'll see. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. Y'all. Kirk Cousins, Vikings quarterback too. I mean, is there a reason why they haven't signed anyone? Is this in the offing? Are they waiting for post-June 1st to make this happen? Even better cap-wise for Falcons? I don't know, man. Let us know your thoughts. Our thoughts, comment section. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol, production value.